Chapter 3, Wooden Word, Full Detailed Explanation. The morning in Noir had moved quietly, the kind of stillness that comes not from peace, but from exhaustion, as though even the air had grown tired of carrying secrets. Inside the Waystone Inn, Kvothe stood behind the bar, his motions slow and deliberate. He polished the same stretch of mahogany he had cleaned countless times before. There was comfort in repetition, a rhythm that kept his thoughts at bay. But this morning was different. There was a heaviness in the air, as if the silence from the night before had never truly lifted. The faint smell of ashes still lingered from a fire that had long gone out. Dust motes drifted lazily through thin beams of sunlight cutting across the room. Then came the sound. A faint, uneven shuffle outside. The inn's door creaked open and Kote, the local farmer, stepped inside. His face was pale, his breath uneven, and there was something wild in his eyes. The quiet murmur that usually filled the inn died instantly. He didn't speak at first, he just stood there at the threshold, trembling slightly, his clothes torn, a smear of dark mud on his cheek. Kvothe, ever calm, looked up. "Kote," he said quietly, "you look like you've seen a ghost." But Kote didn't answer. Instead, he stumbled forward, his boots thudding softly against the wooden floor. Old Cobb, who had been sitting near the bar nursing a morning drink, turned in his chair, his wrinkled face tightening with concern. "What's wrong, lad?" Cobb asked, his voice carrying the low tremor of age. "You look fit to drop." Kote swallowed hard, as if the words hurt to form. "They're dead," he managed finally, his voice cracking. "The horse, the cow, all of them." A chill swept the room. The silence, that third silence of the Waystone, returned, heavy as a coffin lid. "Shep," Kote said after a moment, looking toward the empty chair where his friend should have been. "He's gone too." Cobb's eyes narrowed. "Gone where?" "Dead," Kote whispered. "Something killed him, tore him apart." For a heartbeat, no one moved. The only sound was the soft creak of the old wooden beams above. Kvothe put down the cloth he'd been holding and stepped around the bar. "Tell me what happened," he said, voice calm but edged with quiet authority. Kote drew a ragged breath. "It was just past dawn. I went to check the stock. Everything was quiet, too quiet. Then I saw the blood. The horse was down by the fence, its neck." He stopped, unable to finish. "And Shep, he was lying by the gate." Bast, who had been silent until now, stood near the wall, his youthful face drained of colour. "Was there anyone else? Any sign of who or what did it?" Kote shook his head. "No tracks I could see, no footprints, just the smell, like burnt metal." At that, Kvothe's expression darkened, just slightly, but enough for Bast to notice. That scent meant something to him, something old, something dangerous. Old Cobb muttered a quiet prayer, crossing himself. "Telu protect us," he whispered. "The Chandrian." The name hung in the air like smoke. No one wanted to say it, but everyone was thinking the same thing. Kvothe turned to Bast, his voice steady. "Go to the barn, bring a lantern and some blankets." Then to Kote, he said, "Show me." Kote hesitated. "You don't want to see it." Kvothe looked at him with eyes that seemed far older than his face. "I've seen worse," he said quietly. They left together, stepping out into the sharp chill of the morning. The inn's door swung shut behind them with a hollow thud. The camera, if you will, lingers for a moment on the empty room. The flickering candlelight, the still mugs on the table, the empty chair where Shep would never sit again. The wind outside picked up faintly, carrying with it the scent of iron and something darker. And in that stillness, Bast stood alone by the door, his eyes watching the horizon where Kvothe had gone. A faint shimmer of fear and respect mingling behind his calm expression. He whispered something under his breath, too soft for anyone to hear. Then the chapter closes as the silence settles back over the Waystone Inn, the silence of waiting, of dread, and of memory.